I first noticed it at 1:12 a.m. I wasn't looking for anything unusual. I was just trying to reconnect my laptop. The internet in my apartment had been unstable all evening. Pages loading halfway, videos buffering, my phone switching between Wi-Fi and data without explanation. So I opened the network list. And that's when I saw it. At the top of the list, stronger than my own router signal, was a network I had never seen before. That it wasn't a random string of numbers, that it wasn't a neighbor's name, that it was mine. Exactly as it appears on my lease. First and last name, all caps. No special characters, just my full name. I stared at it for a long time. I live alone. No roommates. No shared walls thick enough to confuse routers. And even if a neighbor decided to name their Wi-Fi after me, how would they know my full legal name? I refreshed the list. It disappeared. Only my router and 2 distant signals remained. I leaned back in my chair. Okay, I muttered. Coincidence. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe my device cached something strange. I closed the laptop. 5 minutes later, curiosity got the better of me. I opened it again, scanned for networks, and there it was. Stronger than before. Full signal bars. My full name. I checked my router, still broadcasting its normal name. No changes. I opened my phone. Same thing. The network was visible there too. Not imagined. Not a laptop bug. Real. Locked. Password protected. I hovered over it. For some reason, my chest felt tight, like clicking it would mean something. I told myself I wouldn't connect. I'd just observe. The signal strength fluctuated slightly, almost like breathing. I clicked on the details. Security type, WPA2. Standard. Normal. Except the MAC address didn't look normal. It wasn't in any recognizable manufacturer format. It looked structured. Too clean, almost deliberate. I took a screenshot. By the time I looked back at the list, the network was gone. Again, I stood up. Walked slowly around my apartment. Kitchen. Bedroom. Bathroom. Nothing unusual. No new hardware. No blinking lights. No hidden router humming in the walls. When I came back to my desk, the network had returned. Stronger. And this time, there was a subtitle beneath it. Like a secondary SSID, a faint line of text that hadn't been there before. It read, 217. My heart skipped. 2:17. The same time I'd been seeing lately on receipts, on my microwave clock when I randomly glanced up, on a parking ticket earlier that week. I swallowed. It was just a time. Just numbers. I clicked the network. A password prompt appeared, and beneath it a suggestion. Auto-fill. 6 characters. The first 3 were my birth month. The last 3 were today's date. I froze. I hadn't typed anything. I hadn't saved any passwords. The system was suggesting it. Slowly, I deleted it, closed the window, refreshed the list. The network remained. Now the subtitle had changed. Waiting. I felt something shift in my stomach. The room felt smaller. Like the air pressure had changed. I told myself I wouldn't connect. And for that night, I didn't. But before going to bed, I checked one last time. The network was gone. Only my own Wi-Fi remained. Normal. Steady. I shut off the lights, lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. At exactly 2:17, my phone buzzed. Wi-Fi connected. I hadn't touched it. And when I looked at the screen, I was connected to my full name. On my phone screen glowed in the D-top corner. Wi-Fi. My full name. Full signal. No password prompt. No confirmation request. Just connected. I slowly turned off airplane mode. Still connected. Opened the Wi-Fi settings. The network list was empty. Only one network existed. Mine. And the one I was already on. I switched to mobile data. The Wi-Fi disconnected. I turned Wi-Fi back on. Instant reconnection. No prompt. like it had already memorized me. I swallowed and opened the browser. Typed a random website. It didn't load. No error message. No internet. Notice. Just a white screen. Then the white screen flickered. Pixelated. Shifted. And resolved into an image. My apartment. From above. From a ceiling corner angle. An angle that didn't exist. My couch. My coffee table. The faint light from my bedroom doorway. I was in the bedroom, which meant the living room was empty. On the screen, the timestamp in the corner. Read 2:16:48. I looked at the time on my phone. 2:16. The seconds ticked forward. On both screens, perfectly sensed. The video feed was live. The quality was too clean to be a cheap hidden camera. Sharp. Clear. Almost cinematic. The image shifted slightly. As if the camera were adjusting focus. A low buffering symbol appeared in the center, then disappeared. The timestamp reached 2 hours 17 minutes and 0 seconds. The front door handle in the video moved. Slowly. Turned. The door opened. I froze in bed. The real door to my apartment was closed. Locked. But on the screen, it opened. And someone stepped inside, wearing my clothes. Same HOODIE. Same sweatpants. Same bare feet. He stepped into the living room, turned slightly, and looked directly into the camera. My stomach dropped. He looked exactly like me, but calmer, more aware. He walked to the center of the room. Stopped and spoke. No audio came through, but I could read his lips. You shouldn't have connected. The feed glitched violently. Horizontal tearing across the image. The timestamp skipped forward 2 minutes 18 seconds and 2 milliseconds. 19. The figure vanished. The living room was empty again. The browser window closed on its own, returning to a blank homepage. My Wi-Fi disconnected. Then reconnected. I threw off the covers and ran into the living room. The apartment was normal. Door locked. Deadbolt in place. No one inside. No signs of entry. I checked the ceiling corners. Nothing. No camera. No wiring. No lens reflection. I turned slowly in a circle. Everything was where it should be. My couch. My table. My bookshelf. I picked up my router. Checked the lights. Normal. Standard blinking. I opened my laptop. Wi-Fi list. Only my router. The hidden network was gone. I stared at the screen. Okay, I whispered. Okay, maybe it was malware. Maybe someone hacked the router. Maybe my phone buzzed. Wi-Fi connected. I looked down slowly. My full name. The network had returned. Stronger. The subtitle beneath it now read, Levi. Didn't touch anything. The browser opened automatically. The stream loaded instantly. Now the camera angle was different. Bedroom. Facing my bed. Empty. Because I was standing in the living room. The timestamp read 2:21. The bed covers shifted slightly, like someone had just gotten up. A shape formed in the blanket. Then flattened. The camera adjusted. Focused. The bedroom door in the feed opened, and I walked out into the living room. On the screen, not in reality, the version of me in the feed moved slowly, turned his head slightly, like he could hear something outside the frame. Then he looked straight into the camera. Again, into me. He stepped closer, leaning in, until his face filled the frame. His eyes were darker. Not in color. In depth. He mouthed one word. Switch. The feed cut to black. My phone screen returned to normal. No browser open. No history. No cache. Wi-Fi disconnected again. Silence filled the apartment. I stood still for a long time. Listening. Nothing moved. No footsteps. No doors. No hum from hidden devices. Just my own breathing. I walked slowly back to the bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and that's when I noticed something I hadn't before on my nightstand. A small blinking light. Red. Faint. I leaned Closer. It wasn't a device. It was my phone. Recording indicator. The camera app was open. Front. Camera active. The screen was black, but the red light was on. I tapped it. The screen came to life, and I saw myself sitting on the bed, looking at the phone, but the timestamp in the corner didn't match. It read :02:17. Again. My image on the screen. Looked up. Not at the phone, but slightly above it, like it was looking past me. At something standing behind. May. The image glitched. The recording stopped. The phone returned to home screen. The Wi-Fi reconnected automatically. The subtitle beneath the network changed again. Now it read. Closer. I slowly turned my head toward the bedroom doorway. The hallway beyond was dark. Still. Empty. But for the first time, I wasn't sure if the stream was showing the future. Or preparing it. I unplugged the router at 2:32 a.m. I didn't hesitate. I walked straight to the outlet and pulled the cord from the wall. The blinking lights died. Instantly. Silence filled the room. No more signal. No more interference. I waited. My phone screen was still on. Wi-Fi symbol glowing. Full signal. Connected to my full name. My throat tightened. I opened settings. The router name was gone. Completely. There was only one network available, and I was already connected to it. I turned Wi-Fi off, switched to airplane mode, then turned airplane mode off. Wi-Fi turned itself back on automatically. Reconnected. No password prompt. No loading delay. As if it didn't need infrastructure. As if it wasn't using the router at all. I slowly backed away from the desk. The air in the apartment felt dense. Like before a thunderstorm. I opened the browser again. The page loaded immediately. No white screen. This time. The stream started instantly. Living room. Same angle as before. Timestamp in the corner. 2:28. My phone clock read 2:33. The feed was 5 minutes behind. Or 5 minutes ahead. I couldn't tell. In the stream, the living room was empty. The lights were off. The front door handle began to move. I stood in the real living room. Door locked. Still. On the screen. The door opened, and someone stepped inside. Wearing my hoodie again. Same posture, same gait. But this time, he looked tired, like he'd been awake too long. He closed the door, locked it, then walked toward the router, bent down, and unplugged it. Exactly as I had just done. The timestamp ticked forward. 2:29. He stood slowly, turned toward the camera, and shook his head. The feed glitched. The timestamp jumped. 02:33. He was now standing where I was. In front of the couch, holding his phone. Looking down at it. Looking confused, mirroring me. Perfectly. The time on my real phone ticked to 2:34. The feed was SYNCING. Catching up. I watched as he walked toward the bedroom, just as I had done minutes earlier. The camera angle shifted automatically. Bedroom view. He sat on the edge of the bed, just like me. Looked down at the phone. Looked up. Past it. The same motion. The same delayed realization. The feed froze. The subtitle beneath the network name changed. From closer to SYNCING. My pulse pounded in my ears. If it sensed, what happened then? The stream resumed. Now the timestamp matched my phone exactly. 02:35. No delay. No difference. He stood. I stood. He walked into the living room. I walked into the living room. The movement was perfectly mirrored, except his delay was about half a second. Like a reflection in slightly slow glass. I stopped moving abruptly. He continued walking for that half second. Then stopped. 2. We stared at each other. Through the screen. The subtitle changed. Again. Switch ready. My breathing became shallow. I reached for the router again, even though it was already unplugged. I pulled the Ethernet cable out. disconnected everything. The feed did not flicker. The signal did not weaken. Instead, another network appeared in the list. Below mine. Weaker signal. Different name. It wasn't my full name this time. It was Unit 3BTH8 of my apartment number. And beneath it, a copy felt a cold line move down my spine. I refreshed the list. A third network appeared. Faint. Barely visible. Unit 3 CBUT. There is no 3C. My building only has 2 apartments per floor. 3A and 3B. No 3C. The signal strength of 3C fluctuated. Like breathing. I tapped it. No password required. The stream opened instantly. This one wasn't my apartment. It was the hallway. Outside. From a ceiling angle. Facing my door. Timestamp 2:36. The hallway was empty. The lights steady. Then, the camera view shifted slightly. Zoomed in. My door handle began to turn. I stepped back from the real door instinctively. But it didn't move. In reality, nothing happened. On the stream, the door opened. And I stepped out. Looking confused. Looking around the hallway. Like I was hearing something behind me. The door remained open. The apartment inside was dark. The timestamp ticked to 2:37. I watched myself in the feed turn slowly toward the camera. Like I knew where it was. Like I could see through it. Then, the hallway lights flickered. The stream cut. The network disappeared. 3C vanished. Unit 3B remained. And my full name network stayed at full strength. The subtitle changed again. One more. My heart dropped. One more what? One more network. One more version. One more switch. My phone VIBRATED. No number. No caller ID. Just a notification banner. Wi-Fi alert. Device limit reached. I stared at it. Device limit? I live alone. I only own 3 devices. Phone. Laptop. TV. I opened the connected devices tab. There were 4 active connections. My phone. My laptop. My TV. And one labeled 3B primary. The signal strength on that one was the strongest. And the IP address matched mine. Exactly. A slow realization formed in my mind. The network wasn't showing the future. It wasn't predicting. It was layering. Every time I connected, it added a device, a version. An occupant. My apartment wasn't empty anymore. It was duplicating. SYNCING. And when the sync completed, one of us would become primary. The other, just a connected device. The Wi-Fi symbol flickered. The subtitle beneath my name network shifted one final time. Final sync at 2:17. I looked at the clock. 2:38. I had time. But not much. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if disconnecting would help, or if staying offline would just make the next version stronger. Because somewhere in this building, there might already be another network. With another name watching me. Waiting. I decided to leave at 2:41 a.m. Not dramatically. Not panicking. Just calmly. I put on my shoes, grabbed my keys, slipped my phone into my pocket. If the network only worked inside the apartment, then leaving should break it, right? I opened the front door slowly. The hallway was empty. Still. Warm yellow lighting. Nothing unusual. I stepped out, closed the door behind me, locked it. For a second, everything felt normal again. The air in the hallway didn't feel heavy. The lights weren't flickering. No. Strange humming. I walked toward the stairs instead of the elevator. I didn't want to be inside another metal box tonight. Halfway down the stairwell, my phone VIBRATE. Wi-Fi connected. I stopped walking. Slowly pulled the phone out. Full signal. Network. My full name. I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was between floors. There was no router here. No infrastructure. I turned Wi-Fi off manually. The icon disappeared. 2 seconds later, it turned back on. Reconnected. The subtitle beneath the network name Read. Roaming, my stomach tightened. I hurried down the stairs, pushed open the building's side exit, stepped outside into the cold night air. The street was empty, streetlights buzzing faintly, cars parked silently along the curb. I stood on the sidewalk, looked at the signal bars, still full. I crossed the street. Halfway across, the signal dropped by 1 bar, then rose back to full strength. Like it had adjusted its range. Like it had followed me. The subtitle changed again. Stable. Connection. My breathing grew shallow. I walked faster. 2 blocks down. Then 3. Still connected. I turned airplane mode on. Everything cut. No signal. No Wi-Fi. Silence. I waited. The night felt normal for the first time in hours. I exhaled slowly. Then airplane mode switched off on its own. Wi-Fi reactivated. Connected. No password. Prompt. The browser opened automatically. The stream loaded instantly. This time, it wasn't my apartment. It was the street. From above. A rooftop camera angle. Watching me. Tim East TMP colon 02 colon 4 2. I looked up instinctively. There were no visible cameras. No drones. No blinking lights. But on the screen, I was standing exactly where I was now, looking at my phone. The stream lagged slightly, maybe a second behind. The version of me on the feed looked up. Directly at the camera, then slowly turned his head towards something behind him. I didn't move. On the feed, a second version of me stepped into frame. From the left side. Same clothes. Same height. Same posture. The one on the feed turned toward the second one. They stood face to face. Mirroring. One of them looked confused. The other looked calm. The calm one reached out, placed a hand on the confused one's shoulder. The feed glitched. Horizontal tearing. The timestamp jumped 2:43. Only one of them remained, standing alone on the street. Looking down at the phone. Looking at me. The real me. I slowly turned around. The street behind me was empty. No one there. But the feeling was different now. Not like I was being watched, like I was being measured. I started walking again. Faster. The feed adjusted automatically. Following. Tracking. Like a GPS lock. The subtitle changed again. Device 4 active. Device 4. There were already 4 in the apartment earlier. That meant something new had connected. I stopped walking. Opened the connected devices tab. There were now 5. My phone. My laptop. My TV 3B. Primary. And a new one. 3B. Mobile signal strength. Full. IP address. Same as mine. I stared at it. Primary. Mobile. The system wasn't labeling devices. It was labeling positions. Locations. Versions. The streetlight above me flickered once, then steadied. The stream shifted. Camera angle. Now I could see the sidewalk from the opposite side of the street. And there, standing under the light, was me, watching me. In real time. The version in the feed wasn't delayed anymore. It moved exactly when I moved. No half-second lag. Perfect sync. If I lifted my hand, he lifted his. If I stepped forward, he stepped forward. But there was one difference. He was slightly closer to the camera, like he was half a step ahead. The subtitle flickered. Final sync approaching. My phone clock read 2:44. I did the math. 30-3 minutes since 2:11. Less than 30 minutes until 2:17. Or maybe 2:17 wasn't about the hour. Maybe it was about alignment. I stopped moving completely. The version in the feed stopped too. The street was silent. No cars. No wind. No distant noise. Just the low electrical hum of streetlights. I made a decision. Instead of running, I walked toward the spot where the second version had appeared in the stream, toward the exact patch of sidewalk, one step at a time, on the feed. The synced version mirrored me. As I approached the center of the frame, the signal strength icon began to pulse. The subtitle changed one final time. Primary reassignment to stream. Zoomed in slightly. Closer to my face. Closer to my eyes. The version in the feed took one more step forward and stopped. Now we were face to face. Through the screen. No delay. No glitch. Just perfect alignment. And then the version on the feed smiled. Not wide, not unnatural. Just subtle. Calm. And stepped out of frame. But in reality, I hadn't seen anyone move. The street was still. Empty. The feed cut to black. Wi-Fi disconnected. Silence. My phone returned to normal home screen. No active network. No hidden SSID. Nothing. For a moment, I felt relief. And my phone VIBRATD. Wi-Fi connected. Looked down slowly. The network name had changed. It was no longer my name. It was 3B. Primary, and beneath it, Yumi. Chest tightened. Somewhere in the distance, a phone rang. Not mine. Another one. Close. Behind me. I turned slowly. Under the streetlight, someone was standing, holding a phone. Screen glowing. Looking at it. Looking confused. Wearing my HOODIE. My shoes. My face. And his phone. Screen was showing me. Standing under the streetlight. He was standing 10 feet away from me. Under the STRETL IGHT. Holding a phone. Looking at the screen the same way I was. Confused. Breathing fast. The glow from his display lit up his face. My face. For a moment, neither of us moved. The street was completely silent. No cars. No wind. Just a faint electrical hum above us. I slowly lowered my phone. He did the same. Perfectly mirrored. No delay. No lag. The connection was no longer half a second behind. It was exact. His phone buzzed at the same time as mine. We both looked down. Network, colon 3B, primary subtitle. One will disconnect. My pulse roared in my ears. I opened the connected devices list. There were now only 2 entries. 3B, primary 3B, secondary, both with identical signal strength. Identical IP addresses. Identical uptime. He looked up from his phone. So which one are you? He asked. His voice sounded exactly like mine, but slightly strained. Like he'd been running. I don't know. I said. The words felt heavy in my mouth. Not rehearsed. Not calm. Just honest. The signal icon on my phone began pulsing. A faint vibration ran through it. Like a heartbeat. The subtitle changed again. Final sync at 2:17. Check the time. 2:16. The seconds felt slower now. Thicker. He glanced at his phone too. We were both watching the same countdown. 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 32 seconds. I felt something strange in my chest. Not fear. Not panic. A pull. Like gravity had shifted slightly toward him. He took a small step forward. I didn't. But my body felt heavier. The air around him shimmered faintly. Not visibly. Just enough to feel wrong. Don't move, I said. He stopped. 02:16:48. The network list flickered. The labels? Swap positions. Primary moved to the second. Line. Secondary moved to the first. Then swapped back, like it couldn't decide. 2:16:55. My phone screen dimmed slightly. His screen grew brighter. 02:16:58. He inhaled sharply. I felt my own breath hitch. 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 59 seconds. The streetlights flickered once. 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 0 seconds. Everything stopped. No wind. No sound. No vibration. The Wi-Fi symbol disappeared completely. Both our screens went black. For one suspended second, there was no connection. Then, the screens turned back on. My phone displayed. Disconnected signal. Strength. 0. Battery. 0%. Completely drained. His phone displayed. 3B. Primary full signal. Full battery. Full uptime. He blinked slowly. looked around the street, then looked at me. Confusion faded from his face, replaced by recognition. You shouldn't have connected, he said quietly. I tried to step backward. My legs felt numb, heavy, like they weren't fully responding. He walked toward me, calm, measured, not aggressive. Just certain. Once you join, he continued, you become part of the network. The street behind him flickered slightly, like a low-resolution image buffering. I looked down at my hands. They felt lighter, almost hollow, like there was a slight delay between thought and movement. He stopped a few feet away, raised his phone, turned the screen toward me. The stream opened. Automatically, it was my apartment. From the ceiling corner, empty, TIMES, TAMP, :02, :17, in the bottom right corner of the stream, a small text label appeared. Available device, 3B archive. I swallowed. That's me. I whispered. He nodded once. Calm. You're the recorded version now. The realization settled slowly. Every time I connected, every time I watched, I wasn't predicting anything. Was uploading .syncing, .duplicating until one version stabilized and the other became storage. The background of the street began to blur slightly around the edges. Not violently, just soft, unfocused, like depth of field narrowing. I don't want to disappear, I said. You won't, he replied. You'll just be accessible. His words felt colder than any threat. The Wi-Fi symbol flickered briefly on his phone. The subtitle beneath the network name appeared one final time. Connection. Stable, he slipped the phone into his pocket, turned toward the building, walked calmly back toward it. The street around me grew quieter, duller, my vision felt slightly delayed, like I was half a second behind reality. I looked down at my phone again. The screen flickered weakly. A faint interface appeared, no battery icon, no apps, just a simple text line. Stream ready. The camera feed opened, but now the angle wasn't from a ceiling. It was from eye level. Looking outward, through my own perspective, I could see him walking away, back toward the building. He reached the entrance, opened the door, stepped inside, and for a split second, he paused, turned slightly, and looked back at me. At the version still standing under the STREETLIGH. Inside, the door closed. The street returned to normal clarity. The streetlights steadied. The distant sound of a car engine returned somewhere far away. My phone screen dimmed completely. Black. Then the Wi-Fi icon reappeared. Network. Name. My full name. Subtitle. Live. The stream loaded. Automatically. Now it showed the apartment again. From the ceiling corner. He entered, locked the door, walked into the living room. Sat down on the couch, looked directly into the camera. Into me. He didn't smile this time. He just held the gaze. Calm, stable, primary. The timestamp ticked forward. 2 minutes, 18 seconds, and 2 milliseconds. 19:220. He leaned forward, slightly, and whispered something. I couldn't hear it, but I knew what it was. Stay connected. The stream continued. Uninterrupted. And for the first time, I understood. The network doesn't create versions. It preserves them. Every apartment, every device, every person who connects. Somewhere in the building, there are dozens of networks. Hidden, named after people. Occupied. Stable. And sometimes, late at night, when someone opens their Wi-Fi list, they see a signal with their own name. Full bars. Waiting. And if they connect, the network grows.